Hello. This is amazing how things just come together. There is this perception of a thing called time, and it's something that is finite. It's just a measurement because there is no time, but in this material reality, it's something that seems very real. It's something that is very central to things. It depends on your perspective. So, time, it's something that's stolen from you in the material world. It's something you are chasing after, something you're being robbed of. But when you are in the present moment, and you observe, I think you'll find, and I know that many of you have, that the timing of things is absolutely beautiful. It sounds like I've gone off on a tangent, but far from the truth. Now we need to start with a premise, the perspective that we're coming from. So the first thing I'm going to say to you is don't even bother watching the visual of this video as such. It would be far better if you get yourself some sort of material that you can write on, and then you're going to need some instruments. You're going to need a ruler, which you will be in control of, and you need some sort of medium to create a picture. Now the picture I'm going to suggest that you copy is the album cover of Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Now to understand this, think of like in The Wizard of Oz. The world appears to be very black and white, but then you go into a technicolor dream. Now look at that album cover. It's basically a black background. There's a reason for that, because the sky is a lie, and if you see how the land lies, everything external of you is a lie, and it would appear to be very black and white, but you're in darkness. But in this realm there are contrasts. So look at that symbol right in the middle of that album cover. You have a triangle. Now central, or one of the themes of this album, Dark Side of the Moon, and it's track number 5, 5 senses in the external, money. Well, look on the back of a dollar bill. This has been pointed out many times. There's that pyramid, there's that separate capstone. Look where the eye is on it. I think you'll agree, if you look at the Pink Floyd album cover, that white light that's going into that triangle is basically, if you see it as your third eye and your two physical eyes, it makes a triangle. Or you could see it as to the crown and your two temples. It's making a triangle. So it's referencing the third eye. It's what's going in to that triangle, into the mind. So you can see it as a beam, a broadcast from, say, a television. It's a beautiful joke. Most people have got one in their living room, but that's hardly living. See, this is all a realm of contrast. It is a divine comedy. And of course, on the back side of that triangle, the side that you can't see of that triangle, it comes out as a spectrum of colours, because you can separate things. You can see things from different hues, different perspectives. It's just a way of expressing it. It's about internal processing of things. But it's coming from the external. This album, Dark Side of the Moon, is all about As much as anything else, it is a warning. So the premise that we're coming from with this: 1, there are no coincidences. A coincidence is a coin side dance. While you're dancing to the tune of money, for example. The art spirit, because this is from the benevolent side, the art spirit works through artists. Art, by its definition, is creation from the imagination. Art is an expression of the internal, the idea. When it gets the ID, the individual artist who now creates it in whichever form it takes. In this particular case, it is as an album, a music album. It's expressed as a guide to the external. So first off, the thing we look at, apart from the album cover, that visual aspect and what that's showing. Let's think about Pink Floyd, those two words, because it's all about duality. We're in a realm of contrasts. So pink, the meaning of the colour pink is a nurturing, playful and nostalgic colour that takes people back to their childhood. That's from a Google search. Just put in the meaning of pink, meaning of the colour pink, and that's the answer that comes up. Likewise, when we look at FLOYD, it means grey-haired, a boy's name of Welsh origin, with common association of grey hair indicating wisdom. Just look at village elders across different tribes. They're always depicted as long growing hair, the elders, the wise ones of the village, the ones that everybody goes to. Look at mythology and gods and things. Look at, say, Merlin, Gandalf, any of these characters, they've all got that same image. There are no coincidences. So, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. It was released on the 1st of March, 1973, by Harvest Records. I'm hoping there's some alarm bells going off with some of you out there now, just on hearing those few words. So 1973, that means next year marks the 50th anniversary of this album. Maybe you'll start to see the beauty in the timing of everything that comes out of this. Talking of which, the duration of the album is 42 minutes and 50 seconds, which gives a sum of 11, because it's talking about duality. As shown on the album cover, the white light goes in, it comes out as 7 colours of the rainbow, 7 chakras maybe, on the unseen side. And of course it reduces down to 2, because it's referencing the contrast. Yet again, it's self-referencing in the timing of it. And of course, there are 9 tracks, 1 to 9. So now if we look at the individual 9 tracks, I don't think I need to explain the significance of 1 to 9 and 1 and 9, and how that combinations of those numbers and in the inversion, well, obviously 1 can't be inverted, but it can be doubled and 1 can become 2, and of course 9 can be inverted, flipped over and turned into a 6. So you might want to look at numbers like 616 and 216 and how they are referenced in things, as well as numbers like 11 and 1 and 9. I think you get the picture. So if we do a breakdown of the timings of these 9 tracks, the first track is called Breathe. It comes out with a sum of 5, because it's talking about 5 senses. The next track, which is instrumental, and it really is instrumental, comes out as an 11 or 2. Track number 3 is Time, and it comes out as a 12 or a 3. The Great Gig in the Sky which incidentally has a time duration of 4 minutes and 44 seconds. Something worth considering, perhaps. Also comes out as a 12. 3 4 is a 12. You could also maybe see a reference to the pyramid, 4 sides consisting of 3 sides to each individual side. You have a 12 there. Track number 6, Us and Them, comes out as a 12. Sorry, I've missed one. Number 5, Money, comes out as an 11. So you could see the 11s as referring to the external world of L, this hell world, L world. That's referenced in the album in one of the tracks. I'll come on to that. We're already up to 10 minutes, but I'd like to do this as one singular video, so please bear with me. But we'll see how the time goes. So, Us and Them comes out with a sum of 12. Track number 7, any colour you like. Track number 7. 7 is a significant number again. That comes out as an 11. Track number 8. The number of infinity, the number of change, is Brain Damage. That comes out as a 13. 12 signs of the zodiac going round with the sun. There's a 13 expressed to you there. And of course, finally, track number 9 is Eclipse. Highly significant. Now that comes out at 2 minutes 1 second, so it gives a sum of 3, a divine number. So let's get into this. Track number 1. It's got a sort of prelude called Speak to Me, and it's a sort of talked vocal, and says, I know that I'm mad, I've always been mad, I've been mad for years. It's talking about if you consider yourself as like a black sheep of the family, how the rest of the world will perceive you, how a lot of people that would, if they heard this video, would think, what the hell is he talking about? Notice I'm talking in a language called English, but how many will understand it? So, well, a thought that's just come back into the mind. So, a map. To navigate your way on a journey with a map, you need to consult the legend. So, look at the mythology, look at the legends, because they are keys. They hold keys to decoding and working out your path, mapping out your journey for yourself. So we come on to the first track, Breathe, in the air. No coincidences. Air is spirit. It is all around you. So it's saying, breathe in the air. Don't be afraid to care. Leave, but don't leave me. Look around and choose your own ground. Now, if the skies are lie and you see how the land lies, perhaps it might be worth considering that the eyes are actually for taking in. But of course they do see, but when the reality is an illusion, what are you really seeing? One big lie. So choose your own ground. Well, what is the ground? You stand your ground, do you not? So that means you are within yourself. This is what it is referencing to. But this album is coming from the perspective of looking at the external. So we come on to the first version of the chorus. For long you live and high you fly. That's the good times, and smiles you'll give and tears you'll cry. Well, you'll find that in life. You probably already have. You've had smiles, you've had tears, you've had good times, you've had bad times. And all you touch and all you see is all your life will ever be. If you're looking in the external, that's pretty much sums it up. So we come on to the next verse. Run, rabbit, run. Dig that hole. Forget the sun. And when at last the work is done, don't sit down. It's time to dig another one. Reference to time again. Run, rabbit, run. So we're talking about rabbit holes. Dig that hole, forget the sun. You're not looking for the light. You're digging externally, looking at all these conspiracies, trying to find answers. And when at last the work is done, when you've gone as far as you can go in that rabbit hole, which I suggest you're never going to find the end of it, don't sit down. It's time to dig another one. So you may have had Tartaria, mud flood, so on, flat earth, black goo, 9/11, all these hot topics. But, yeah, it's a process I think many of you have already gone through, especially if you're listening to a channel like this. So, second version of the chorus. For long you live and high you fly, but only if you ride the tide. Walking on the waters is the biblical explanation of this. And balanced on the biggest wave, you raced towards an early grave. So if you're in that external world, that is the only journey you're taking. You're surfing. You notice you've got the word surfing with the internet. No coincidences. You're surfing the external world, but you're not going to do anything except race towards an early grave. This is followed by track 2, called On the Run, which is instrumental. It needs no words said. It's something you need to internalize. Listen to the sound of the racing cars, the human race against one another, in competition, for example, I would suggest is being shown here. I can only give you a personal perspective on this. I can only decode it the way I see it. But it's art. The album is art. So by definition it is creativity. Art is subjective. You may like it, you may not like it. Same as the music itself. You may not like Pink Floyd. So now we come on to number 3. Time. This is a huge warning to humanity. Ticking away, the moments that make up a dull day, fritter and waste the hours in an offhand way, kicking around on a piece of ground in your hometown, waiting for someone or something to show you the way. It's telling you you need to take active steps. Don't wait for something to come along and save you, for example, something external of you. Tired of lying in the sunshine, staying home to watch the rain. You are young and life is long and there is time to kill today. Yeah, it seems like when you're young that retirement and things are, don't need to worry about pensions, it's all, I can put that off. And I just entertained, distracted by all these bright lights from the external world. And then one day you find 10 years, 0 and 1, 1 and 0, say 10 reference, have got behind you. No one told you when to run and you missed the starting gun. That would be a tragic waste of life to not find out who you are and your purpose, what you're here for, and what this album is alluding to with its central themes of time and money, or should we say wealth, would be a better terminology. And you run to catch up with the sun, but it's sinking, racing around to come up behind you again. So you're chasing after things, and you can't beat it, you can't catch it. But the sun is just a measurement of time in this material realm. As the sun moves, it's morning, it's afternoon, and so on. And you can keep chasing it, but we'll try doing it. Physically try and do it. As the sun sets, go and chase after it and see if you can catch up with it. I think you get the idea of that one. The sun is the same in a relative way, but you're older, shorter of breath, and one day closer to death. So again, it's about perceptions. If you haven't learned from the experiences of life, nothing changes, but you're just getting closer to death, as it says. Every year is getting shorter. Well, that's the shortening of days. That perception of time as a child, an hour can seem like a long time. As you go through life, an hour seems to just vanish. So every year is getting shorter, never seem to find the time. Plans to either come to naught, come to zero. Oh look, I'm doing a symbol, shock horror. Now I'm obviously a controlled opposition because I used that symbol. Remember, it is always intent that is put behind things. But I did deliberately do that symbol to illustrate the point. Plans that either come to naught or half a page of scribbled lines, so it's something half-hearted, like a demi-urge, a semi-urge. You've not seen it through. The time is gone, the song is over. Thought I'd had something more to say. This is a reference by Jordan Maxwell when he talks about people who end up in old people's home, maybe lived 90 years, never picked up a book, never discovered anything, frittered and wasted their life. Now we come on to the next verse. Home, home again. I like to be here when I can. And when I come home cold and tired, it's good to warm my bones beside the fire. Sitting in the comfort zone, it's nice and cozy. It achieves nothing. Far away, across the field, the tolling of an iron bell calls the faithful to their knees to hear the softly spoken magic spells. Again, you can look externally. Religion is one of those big traps. All these things that are external of yourself are basically these iron bells. Ding ding. Is this ringing any bells yet? It's something to internalize. Wow, we're up to 22 minutes already. So we'll do the next track, number 4, and then I think I'll split this video, otherwise it's going to get too long and you need time to digest this. How are you getting on with that drawing of this album cover? Because just by doing that you are creating something, you are going to have a new experience. Don't say that you cannot draw a triangle and put in coloured lines, please. You can come up with objections. You haven't got a piece of paper, you haven't got a pen, you haven't got a ruler. Well, take active steps to change that then. 4. The Great Gig in the Sky. I wonder what that could be referring to, the Great Gig in the Sky. What goes on in the mind? It's all about mental processing. I've always been mad. I've been mad for years, like it said at the start of this album. So the Great Gig in the Sky. And this again is a talked vocal. And it's makes a very good point. And I am not frightened of dying, lose the fear. Any time will do. I don't mind. Why should I be frightened of dying? There's no reason for it. You've got to do something. You've got to do sometime, sorry. You've got to go sometime even. Can't even read my own writing here. So I'll just read this again. Why should I be frightened of dying? Because that is inevitable. It's a fact that nothing living, nothing organic is going to escape. It's finite. It is governed by this thing we see as time, this perception. There's no reason for it. There is no reason for it. You're not finding the light within inside yourself, in other words. You've got to go some time. Then, now this is very interesting. There is a very quiet line later in this mostly instrumental track. And it's a female voice, so it's representing divine feminine this time. If you can hear this whispering, you are dying. Well, if it's being whispered, you're not hearing it clearly. You're not listening to that internal voice. So you are heading towards that grave. You are a slave of time. But of course, that can be changed with perspective. And when you are in the present and you have no fear, you are fearless. And you are not rocked by the emotions. Therefore, you don't mind. You stay neutral to things. But now you're seeing things from a positive perspective. You are observing, you are taking in through the eyes, and you are seeing with the mind's eye which is within. So you want to hear this loud and clear. You don't want to be hearing it whispering. And why should you be frightened of dying, really? Ask yourself these. These are internal questions to ask yourselves. Okay, we're going to stop. This is now a part 1, and then we'll carry on with the last 5 songs of this album and give a summary of what it's all about. So I will say love to you all, and maybe you want to listen to this again, maybe a couple of times, and reflect on that album cover. See what is being shown to you, seeing what is being presented to you by this art spirit that works through artists. The artists are the medium of the art spirit. It is the benefactor side. It is the creative side. It manifests to this reality in all forms of art. It's not that any of these artists are in on anything, but it is esoteric wisdom that is coming through, that is permeating through. And it doesn't matter, it's a scalar. In other words, it passes through everything. It can pass through solid objects. It can use Wi-Fi. It can use YouTube. It can use social media. It permeates through. How do you think we're all in contact with each other? Because we haven't really mastered telepathy yet, but that's growing. It's a good sign. So love to you all. See you in part 2.